Hey everybody, it's Shawn from Techbabblers, and today I'm going to be giving you my take on the HTC One M8. With this device, there's a lot to cover, so I'm going to be breaking the video down into three main sections: the hardware, the software, and my overall experience with the device. So to begin with, we're going to be looking at the hardware. As you all know, the HTC One M8 is meant to be a premium smartphone as it's made of 90% aluminum, compared to the original HTC One, which was only made of 70%. If we take a look around the device, on the top we have our power button, along with our IR sensor straight across the top. On the right side we have our micro SD slot, along with volume rocker. On the bottom we have our 3.5mm headphone jack, along with micro USB port. And on the left side we have our SIM card slot. On the back we have our duo cameras along with our HTC logo. On the front we have our 5.1 inch HD display along with our Boomsound speakers, our front facing camera, and our LED notification. When we take a look at the inside of the device, the HTC One has a Qualcomm Snapdragon 801 quad-core CPU, a 5-inch Full HD 1080 display with a PPI density of 440. It's running Android 4.4.2 KitKat. Comes with its dual ultra pixel camera, as mentioned before. It has a Corning Gorilla Glass 3 display. It has obviously HTC Boomsound on the front. And for networks, it has your quad band LTE. It has your HSPA Plus, and it has your regular Edge. The device I have is the Developers Edition, meaning that it is unlocked, SIM unlocked, and able to be used on any GSM carrier. So when we talk about the software now, the HTC One M8 is running Android 4.4.2 KitKat, which means it's the latest version of Android out there at the moment. HTC did commit to upgrading all their devices for about one full year, meaning that if Android 5.0 was to be released very soon, hoping that it will, the HTC One M8 would soon after get Android 5.0. But it would take a little longer than the Play Store edition or a Nexus device, because HTC has opted to using its Sense UI. The HTC One M8 took Sense 5 and made it now the 6th Sense, also known as Sense 6.0, which adds some really interesting features to Sense. So as you all know, if you scroll to the furthest to the left screen, we have Blink Feed, which in my opinion got a little more interesting because you get to choose highlights and, you know, certain, I guess, aspects of your social accounts and news that you would like to see, which is, I guess, good for certain people that like to check out certain things at certain times. Maybe you hear something in the news, like a breaking news report, and you want to find out more about it. Well, you can scroll to Blink Feed, scroll once more to the left, and choose which category it falls under. And you'll be able to find all your news or all your social media posts from Facebook and Twitter in its own separate section instead of scrolling down Blink Feed, which is actually pretty useful in my opinion, because a lot of us like to view content but don't want to spend all the time we have just scrolling, you know, down Facebook forever. Where in Blink Feed, like for me, I like my gaming and tech news. I can just set it so I only see content from Engadget or IGN or wherever you view your content from. Now, if you've had the HTC One M8 or the M7, you can already tell that Sense isn't in your face like TouchWiz. And especially if you're a old HTC One user, the M7 that is, you'll notice that Sense 5 and Sense 6 looks almost the same, which means there isn't much more I can really talk about, except for one thing, the camera app. So if we think of Samsung, they like to add a lot of features in their camera app, and the iPhone. Apple, on the other hand, likes to keep things simple. We can think of HTC to be right in the middle of that. They have a good amount of features, but they still keep it simple where you don't have to like scroll through an endless amount of menus to get the feature that you want. So if we look at the HTC One M8 Cameras app, you'll see where when you press the button on the bottom left, that it opens up a nice little menu that can give you all the features you want. So you have your duo camera, which is for, selfies and using the rear facing camera at the same time. There's an option to use your rear facing camera, there's an option to use Zoe, there's an option for panorama, and there's of course your option for selfies. So another cool thing that was added was if you're taking a selfie, for example, when you hold the camera and you get yourself in frame looking nice and presentable, when you press down on it, it won't instantly take the picture. It'll count down 3, 2, 1, take your picture, which gives you just enough time to make sure everything's nice and pristine before you get a selfie and have to retake it again. One thing that I personally found a bit frustrating about the HTC One M8 was the fact that the finish of the device, I would say, was made a bit too slippery. It reminds me of the Samsung Galaxy S4, which Samsung actually fixed with the S5, but it seems HTC has taken that approach where it's kind of glossy, so with the shape of the device as in your hand it's kind of round, it slides a lot in your hands, and for a premium device you always try to baby it so it doesn't fall and break. But with the HTC One M8, I would suggest if you use it as a daily driver to maybe get a case so you don't have to worry about that, because it will, not that it will, but there's a higher chance it'll slip than probably the Galaxy S5. Another thing that was a bit weird with the HTC One M8 was the fact that the rear-facing cameras, even though it's now a duo-facing camera, meaning 2, it's still the same as the original ultra-pixel camera in the original HTC One M7, meaning that while the second upper camera on the HTC One M8 duo camera adds features such as refocusing, for depth and stuff, it doesn't really improve the quality. I mean, it's not to take a hit at the original HTC One that the camera was bad, but it was shocking to find out that this year's flagship device was not, improved upon, other than adding a depth sensor. That the overall camera was left pretty much the same, which I felt like they could have improved even though they added the new duo camera. But maybe they're keeping it for next year. One thing that caught my eye since the original HTC One was the introduction of Boomsound. With the original HTC One M8, not only did we have Boomsound, but we had Beats Audio. But things kind of fell apart there during, I believe it was between the HTC One Mini and the Max, and Boomsound, which is Beats Audio, was removed and replaced. But in the HTC One M8, we have a new, replacement for Beats Audio, which is just as good. If you listen to music with headphones, the bass is amazing. Sound quality, I haven't had a phone be that great. Even the Samsung Galaxy S5 or iPhone 5s didn't match up, in my opinion, to the HTC One M8. And the front-facing Boomsound speakers are just as awesome as the original HTC One M7, which leads to the philosophy of don't fix it if it ain't broke, because in that case Boomsound wasn't broken and they left it the same and it's still great. So overall, I've been using the device for about 2 weeks as my daily driver. I started to use it right after I finished the Samsung Galaxy S5, and to be honest, I really like the original HTC One M7, and the HTC One M8 is no different. While I don't really use cameras much, I did have quite a bit of fun using the little autofocus after taking the pictures, but sometimes you can tell it was software based, as there were kind of lines around, your focus point, which pretty much gave it away that you weren't really using like a DSLR or something to, blur lines. But I mean, overall, I really enjoy the device. I think HTC has another hit on their hands, even though I guess maybe advertising is what keeps them not as great as the Samsung Galaxy S5. Personally, if you like music, I'd say get an HTC One M7 or even, yeah, an M7 or M8, and you'll see the difference. I use regular, like, Bose headphones, and my god, I love the M8's sound. The screen is pretty good. The front-facing camera is actually, in my opinion, better than the rear-facing camera, so if you're a selfie person, this is the phone to get. And if you really don't like, I guess, in-your-face skins, such as, like, two phones that come off the top of my head, Samsung and LG, the HTC One M8 has a, I guess, a less prominent UI. I mean, you can still tell it's not original Android, but it's not like everything's completely different. You can still find your way around. So overall, I mean, I would recommend the device. It's solid, it's enjoyable, and it's stylish. The finish makes it very good, and you guys should definitely check it out. I'll leave links down below to where I got mine, which was from HTC's HTC's website. One thing I would say is stay away from the developer's edition if you aren't a developer, as it's the same as a regular one, and I've seen a bunch of people ask me, will this work on Verizon or Sprint? The answer is no. If you get a developer's one, while it is unlocked, it will only work on GSM carriers. So right now, you'd be paying an extra amount for Sprint and AT&T. I mean, T-Mobile and AT&T, sorry. While you can just go to the AT&T store or the T-Mobile store and get one from them, which would probably be a lot cheaper considering that you'd be paying, you know, $99 down and on a 24-month, 2-year contract. But other than that, if you guys liked the video, leave a thumbs up, you know? It helps me out, it helps my website out. If you check on the back, that's my website, techbabblers.com. It's where we try to post the most important news of the day, not necessarily all the news. And you can follow us on Facebook also at facebook.com/techbabblers, where we also update you guys on the news and videos, and you know, we try to collaborate with all of you, and you don't have to be afraid to voice your opinions with us, as that's why we're here. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you keep watching our videos. Thanks for watching. My name is Shawn, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.